It says live now on YouTube.
All right. This is preparing, set up your live on YouTube stream. And there we go. That should be it. We're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight, I got David Null on as my guest. Thank you for coming. And it was kind of one of those things that was kind of like last minute, but not last minute. I mean, I had this on my mind and I said, I got to call you up and get you on and we got to do a show tonight. Something was just pounding saying, do it. I really didn't, I could have called and had this planned, a long time ago, but it's like, well, it's just one of those feelings. So how are you tonight?
All right, fine, under the circumstances, and greetings and blessings to everybody from South Georgia and from those other places in the Milky Way.
That's right. And what's happening down your way? Everybody's still all crazy like, and I suppose
it's very conflicted. And I know we still got folks that are probably coming in, but there's some interesting information from the local doctors, and they seem to be following what Trump said was effective. And that my doctor told my friend, we go to the same doctor, and she said, doc, affirm the masks are no good. It's they're creating more problems than not, and people have gone bonkers over this stuff. But that they have been treating patients with this hydrochlor something, zinc, and what they call a steroid pack. There's another name for it, a VPAP, something like that. But anyway, it's a little stronger dose for 5 days. And they've had extreme luck with this treatment. And now that's after people get ill with it. But the thing is that it's usually people who are in nursing homes and who have other ailments along with it. So their immune system is low.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you can do is you can make sure that you've got extra zinc in your diet. And well, there was something else. Well, steroid pack. We don't carry those around, but there are things that we can do, extra vitamin C to make sure that our immune systems are up. And this idea of wearing masks and needed to be, for everybody to be inoculated just really isn't, it's overblown. And then now, with Biden and Harris both coming out saying we should have mandatory masking. Oh boy.
Yeah, I heard that the other day, and they said, across the country, but I have to disagree because of the fact that it's not, I mean, how should I be affected the same as some guy in a big city, or the same as some person in a, like you said, a nursing home or something like that? Everybody's different. We're all our own one person. And then they skip the nutrition part and the self-help part because of the fact that it doesn't make anybody any money. It's not going to make, and it's all to them. It's all about that big pharma's making some money. And I don't want to get political on this, but it's pretty obvious.
Well, the idea that they would come out right after the announcement to VP and all, that they both agree for mandatory masking. And it's almost like the deep state wanting to show their hand, saying, this is what we want for you guys. Vote for us because this is what we want. And there are a lot of us already going, oh no, local doctors, and folks, they're going, no, this isn't true.
Yeah.
So, but it's got to filter out to the, to the real people. So and the deal is, if you got to wear a mask somewhere to do your business, then do so. But this idea of, putting them on and putting them off and doing this and that, I mean, I would be more worried about some kind of personal contact with my hands. And you can use vinegar to sterilize your hands. I mean, there are very simple things you can do to keep yourself healthy. So,
Mhm.
but anyway, the biggest thing is that we as Americans and as people of the world, I know there are folks from the UK that listen in on my channel. So just saying, there are people all over. We need to look at
Mhm.
this with a reality. You know, the virus is smaller than any of the masks available. And if you had a mask
Mhm.
that had a mesh small enough, you wouldn't be able to breathe.
Mhm.
So, you know, we need to look at this thing from a collective standpoint. A little bit of distancing, fine.
Mhm.
You know, washing your hands more regular, fine. But that's good in any situation. So we don't need to go overboard with this thing like some people are trying to convince us. We
Mhm.
cannot be swayed by the chaos.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what they're doing is starting chaos with stuff,
Yes.
and like I said, I think what we've been promoting for a long time isn't so much of, and I want to stay out of the political part, and I want to stay positive. And to my best knowledge, I want to say each and everybody be knowledgeable.
Yep.
Don't walk up to somebody and tell them the mask is good, or don't say it's bad unless you know, and went and did some research. And then if
Right.
you did, then point that research out and say, well, this is the facts. I mean, I've seen so many people yelling at each other and pointing their fingers, and I mean,
No,
videos
that's,
of it.
yeah.
Hey, put it on. No, it ain't no good. Don't start an argument. And if somebody wants to wear it, fine. But I don't think it should be you have to do it. It doesn't. I mean, from the knowledge and the facts that I see, it's kind of like putting the seatbelt on. You put the seatbelt on to protect yourself, um, but it's not going to help anybody else, really. I mean, it's not going to protect them.
Nope.
Uh,
It's going to
it,
make,
it's Yeah.
it's
Go
going to
ahead.
make you sicker. And somebody used an analogy today, and I thought, you know what? That's a really good analogy. Think
Yeah.
about it. Think about trying to stop a mosquito with a chain link fence.
Yes.
You know, so
Absolutely.
it's like, what? Wait a minute now. So when you put things into perspective, you go,
Mm-hmm.
wait, a mosquito and a chain link fence. Well, if it was electrified, would it? But anyway, so,
Mm-hmm.
but when the thing is that make sure that you have the proper information. Don't just be listening to the news. I've got old biology books that talk about viruses and this and blah, blah, blah. You have to have a hazmat suit on,
Yeah.
for any of that to be, or one of those canister type, biomask things. But the idea though, that one of these things is helping anybody, and all the local doctors are trying to agree. Wear it where it's necessary, but don't wear it all the time. Don't wear it driving down the road and outside. That's just plumb stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what's going to happen, even when they put that, they're talking about this mandatory thing. The thing is they don't put an end date on it.
Right.
It's just like, hey, it's going to be this, a period, forever. There's no like, well, we'll just do it for, X amount of time. No, it's like we're going to make a law for seatbelts, and it's going to be the new seatbelt law forever. And we're just going to enforce it with fines and stuff. And nobody cares after a while. It's just normal. And 20, 30 years from now, we're looking at it going, well, we just put it on like normal. This is how we operate. Oh, we get diseases, we get lung problems. Where do you get that from? Well, we're in that thing. And then, of course, they're going to develop stuff and sell you things because you were wearing it and you're catching all this crap, So, yeah, not a
Well,
good thing.
and the thing is, it's not just America. The Germans, the Brits, the French.
Yeah.
There are a lot. The Chinese were bitching about this, 6 weeks ago. There were people, Chinese government officials walking outside this apartment building. It might have been 2 months
Mm-hmm.
ago, but they were screaming out the window, "This is stupid. Let us out of our buildings,"
Yeah.
And they're in China. So
Yeah.
there, people have not been really kind, liking this idea much at all. And one
Yeah.
of the things that it makes you feel almost like they want to mask our faces so that no one can see the truth or speak the truth. It can be spoken behind the mask, you know. And I did a video about I'm talking about the mask, but the representation, especially with these black ones and how they go over your ears. I mean, these folks look like bandits. I mean, I'm sorry, they just look like bandits.
Mm-hmm.
And I think back to the old West, and I mean, they shot people with it. You know, I'm not saying that we should go back to the old West, but it
Mm-hmm.
seems like things are circling back around. You know, that if you don't wear the mask, you must be the bandit. It's almost like a reverse concept. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
if you must wear the mask, otherwise you're the bad guy. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
what? Talk about reverse psychology. Now,
Yep.
okie dokie, here we go. But people ain't going to take cotton to that, as we say down here in the South.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
ain't going to take cotton to that.
Oh,
No.
I agree. Like I said, my suggestion to everybody is to go out and do the research.
Right.
Get your knowledge so you are knowledgeable, so that you don't, when somebody does question you, you can shove knowledge and facts in their face and say, hey, because that's what changes minds is facts.
Right.
And not the new facts, because the new facts they're putting out seem to be to fit the narrative. You have to go back a while and figure out the facts. And like I said, I don't think anybody likes it, and I think you're right. And I just want everybody to say is, okay, so what we do here, and what I'm trying to say about a lot of stuff is a lot about your state of mind and your health is togetherness. You got two things. You got your body and you got your consciousness, your spirit, whatever. Okay, these two things combine to make one. If one or the other is weak, as everybody can tell, you got a weak mind, and you may have a really strong body, but you can be manipulated to do whatever they want with your but if you have a strong mind and a strong body, or a strong body, then the mind is going to work better. They're going to go together like this. Is that not correct?
Yeah, but as old age has set in for me, I realized that my mind's still a lot stronger than my body is. And there
Yeah.
are times when I can override it with my mind. I mean, the times that I was drowned and this, that, and the other. I mean, I should not have made it out of the swamp several times. And the fact that I'm still walking and breathing is just like a miracle to me still. But it's because I refuse to give up. And no matter how bad I hurt and no matter how hot it was, I was like, no, this is not the end for me. No, you know. So it's the strength within. And what we have to do now is, up to a point, we have to go along. But if the Democratic Party is trying to mandate, and I'm trying not to be political, but the obvious thing is the easiest thing for us to do is to vote no. I'm sorry, we don't agree with you. And that's coming up in November. So,
Yeah.
but without being political, we have a choice, and we can say, no, sorry, no, you folks are way out from where we need to be with this.
Yeah. Yeah. But you're right. The choice is, I believe in mask. I want to wear one all the time. Or no, I don't want to wear one all the time. I want to have the free choice of putting it on or taking it off when I feel like it. And that's really what it boils down to. You have to vote with your head and your heart, not just vote because, I heard this one thing, people were voting because, well, the guy looks good. I like that guy. I'd sit down and have a cup of coffee with him, versus the other guy. He's kind of ugly. I wouldn't want to be around him. He doesn't look good. I'm thinking, what?
Not to be political, but to be slightly political. His choices of Biden's VP, people got to think about this. Old Joe's 78. If anything happened to him, do you want her as your president? I'm
Yeah.
just saying,
Yeah.
so contingencies. And when I think about the contingency, he could have picked a lot of other people that I might would have went, well, but her to be, if something happened and he, no, sorry.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where you really have to take a look at the vice president candidate seriously.
Yep.
Unlike other years where you just kind of go, yeah, whatever. This one, yeah, you're going to have to do a not so much whatever.
Well, for those of us who have discussed, and as part of this quest for knowledge, we need to understand what some of these folks have projected for many, many, many years. And the Agenda 21, the Agenda 30, all of these are true facts. And they have not succeeded with their goals. And what a better way to achieve that goal than to put a mask on everybody. So we have to look at this not politically, but who's the driving forces behind wanting to put us all behind a mask? I mean, we got to think on a bigger picture. It's a much bigger picture than Democrat or Republican. We've got to look at this in a big way. Who's pushing what?
That's a smart way.
This is the knowledge that we have at our fingertips, and we can make the choice. But if we allow the chaos to sway our vote versus what we look at and go, something smells fishy here, something, this just don't, and they're, they try to quash and fire and keep out of the news anything that isn't about wearing the mask. So, this is a larger agenda by folk, okay, that are being influenced by other folk, all right? And this is a much bigger thing than just Republican and Democrat. So we have, as far as our knowledge and being able to open up to the universe, we have to open ourselves up to, it's a much bigger fight that's going on here.
Yeah. And you're right. I always say, don't put the little glasses on, open up the screen and look at the whole picture, because and that's up to each individual. And I like that there's more of what you're looking at than just the two parties. There's more than whatever's been going on. It's been going on for a long time. And I encourage everybody to go out there and learn. That is absolutely true. Go out and find your own truth, because that's what we are here to do. Regardless if we look for truth in politics, or if we look for truth in the universe, or whatever, what is guiding us is guiding us in our heart and our mind. And I heard or read somewhere, and I can't remember what it was, you can only read so much, and you can only get so much this and so much that. But when it really boils down to it in the end, you have to start letting your heart and your mind, tell you what's right and wrong. You can use those, and I think that's where your own individual perception leads you.
Well, one of the things that, as a knowledge base, that each of us, at least here, should understand, there are lots of other things going on behind the scenes on a much larger picture. But the chaos seems to always want to focus us in one direction. So we've known for a long time, since 2000, 2001, back at the end of Clinton administration, when all of the media got bought up, and they have been in control of the media. And if you're still a sucker for the national news, you got to look at what they're peddling. And if they're really pushing something, then you got to, the first thing that you should think of is, what's up? Because we've got 20 years of experience with them folk feeding us stuff. And we have to be honest with ourselves and go, listen, they keep lying, they keep this, and they keep hiding this and that, and they won't talk about this. They're biased in their opinions, and it's all true. And so, but the idea is, though, if as a human being in this, it's hard not to look at the news or listen, but if you're buying into, some of this stuff because it's all rant and rave, listen, there's a calmer side to this, hearing
Yeah.
from my local doctor and that they're treating patients locally in these hospitals down here with what Trump said in a press conference a month ago or more or something. She goes, yeah, and it's very effective. She said, I lost 2 patients and I swore I wasn't going to lose another one, not to this. And so, when you hear that kind of a statement from a doctor that's been my doctor for 20 years, who I trust, I think to myself, wow. So, you have to go to local sources, to people that you know. If you know somebody in the profession, ask them what's going on, because the local folks know, because they're treating these patients, So, if you know somebody in the profession, now there are those who believe their own hype. So you got to think about the science in. Just remember, a mosquito in a chain link fence.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, stop for a minute, and we're going to say hi to everybody. We're getting a pretty full house.
Say hi to everybody. We're just getting warmed up, but this is important information.
It is.
We're not trying to sway you in one way or another, but I would seriously suggest, if you don't have this information, please check yourself, because it is vitally important to each and every one of us.
Yep. I got some comments I seen on here too, that I'd like to mention. I see, okay, let's see who we got. We got David Castle. We got Steve from Slightly Slanted for the Sleuth. We got Lori from Pure Love Ascension. Dark Samuel, he's here. Aaron's Energy, thanks for coming. Truth in Me. Let's see, Jill Jarrett. Peter West, Al, Big Al. And we got, let's see, who else do I see here? Oh, I don't know. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Delight Delaney Jones, thank you for coming. Deborah Truex, thank you for coming. Let's see, Michelle Can-Am Free, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad. See, I missed some of these. I seen Jill Jared said something about her roommate there watches CNN, or something like that. Now, here's my suggestion: if you watch only one news station, please turn 2 or 3 or 4 of them, different ones on, and get a wide variety of information. If you just turn one channel, you're only having one perspective. Just like if you're talking to one person, you're only listening to one person, it's not going to be as good as it's like here on this show. For instance, I got you on, David. I had David Castle on. I have, Trina on. I have all these people on. Everybody has a different perspective.
Yep.
And it's wonderful, because if you get to hear all these different ideas, and that's what it's all about, the differing experiences. I want to get more people on and have more experiences, because everybody has something super big to contribute to the rest of us. You out there, you don't realize how important you are to the rest of us.
We are all pieces of sand on the beach, but if it weren't for the sand on the beach, there wouldn't be a beach.
Yes.
So we're all a part of the cosmic whole. And it's that when we start realizing these things on our own personal level, that we can transcend our reality. In other words, we're thinking in a higher level now, because we're, instead of and I was like this, so overreactive to so many things, and then You know, Spirit said, you got to calm your ass down. You got, nuh-uh. So in my spiritual journey, they had to take me and turn me into the conscientious observer, you know, the
Mhm.
compassionate observer. So you look at both sides and you see it, and you'll know real quick when you take your emotions out of the equation and just start looking at the facts like Spock would do, or any any good Vulcan would do. But truthfully though, it's not about the emotions in some of these things,
Mhm.
and they push our buttons plural,
Mhm.
so that we can't think straight. So, and that's part of the masking, if you will. They're putting a mask on our brains,
Yes. Yes.
you know,
Oh.
not
Oh.
just on our face.
Speaking of that, Darth said, he says, sorry, I don't watch the news anymore. Now, I had a friend of mine and me, we talked quite a bit, and he says, I turned off the news for 2 or 3 days. He says, my headache went away and I feel so much better. I tell you what, you don't have to watch the news all the time. Don't, because, I mean, find some news. I agree. But you know what? It don't let it consume your life either. And
Right.
that's what I was saying is find some facts, look at the news, see what's going on, research it a little bit, and then listen to your head and your heart. And that's all you need. That's what
Right.
you need. And then go about your life.
I was going through my YouTube, my YouTube thing, and I was scrolling down, and it said, you know, I am subscribed to 800 channels, you know, and
Yeah.
so over my lifetime on YouTube, I've subscribed, but anyway, so, and I've learned that too many rabbit holes, but to always, and that was part of my learning to be the observer, was to scan
Mm-hmm.
the headlines. And if you know, there were times when I'd get a thump on the shoulder and it was like, you need to look into this. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay, you know. But other things that you can read the headlines and kind of keep up with what's going on, and
Mm-hmm.
without diving in so deep. And but the thing is you have the opportunity. It's not that you can't. It's that you'll find. I found that just scanning the headlines and
Mm-hmm.
finding out who's saying what. And, well, it's the New York Times. Should we believe them people anymore? You know.
Yeah.
So it's like if they're saying one thing, you better believe there's something else going on. Yeah, just you know.
Mm-hmm.
In some ways they get better, but they pretty much fired all the good people. But anyway, the idea though that there's enough people on the platform of YouTube and DTube and all these other places that are talking about these things, and they are legitimate MDs, and they're talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to understand, if somebody, just because they're not on the national news doesn't mean their opinion doesn't matter. You know,
That's
I
right.
trust my local doctor's opinion. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, I'm sorry. I don't care who says what. I trust my doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. And as you should. I mean, but if your doctor says something that you don't feel right, would you not go out and research and then question him?
Or
You know,
her. My
or
doctor's a woman,
oh,
but
yeah,
to the
okay.
point though, one of the things that I learned way back was that she was honest to brutal. I mean, she talks like a drunken sailor sometimes. It's
Mm-hmm.
refreshing for her to cuss out somebody on the phone, you know, while she's standing in the hall. But she would. There were times she literally gave me $100 one time because I was out of work and saw me for 6 months for free. And I mean,
Wow.
so
Mm,
but the honesty, and I've been to other doctors who were dishonest. And I was
mm-hmm.
like, no, you know, well, come in, Mr. Null, here's your pills, see you later, you know.
Yep.
And I realized, no, I want a real doctor. And
Yep.
then I found my current doctor. But
Mm-hmm.
so you have to, that's discernment, you know. You go to a doctor and go, okay, so what are you going to do for me? Well, I'm your doctor and I'll tell you what's right. Well, I had a neurologist that damn near killed me with a new drug that was out on the market. And,
Mhm.
you know, and it sent me into convulsions and seizures for 6 weeks. So
Yeah.
not all medical doctors know what the
Yeah.
bleep,
Well,
bleep, bleep, bleep,
they're
bleep, bleep
they're
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 talking
just
about.
kind yeah, they're just experimenting. I mean, they really um they're just trying to mix potions together and see what works. I mean, really, I mean, you have to I mean, hey, what and that's just like every person's
Yes.
individual. What works on you might not work on the next guy. And what worked on two other people still might not work on you. Um we're all different individuals going through this life in our own personal bubble. Yes, we are physically made up the same, but that doesn't mean that we're actually the same.
No.
I mean,
And
we're in that category of we're human. Okay, that and there you go. And yeah, there's black people, there's white people, there's yellow people and brown people and whatever, and they're still all human, but that one brown person and one other brown person, they're still, and one black person and another black person, they're still all different to each other in weight, size, height, looks.
well,
um
see, like for example, you know, in learning about Hinduism and Buddhism, and I've learned things about the caste system. Yeah, I
yeah,
can't speak on it largely in that the caste system in India, if
yeah.
you're if you're a person that empties dung
Mm-hmm.
or some kind of, you are in this particular caste, and no matter what you do, you can't
Mm-hmm.
ever get away from it. You can try to go up into higher one, and there, that's worse than racism, in
Yep.
my opinion. But because it's, you can't tell from looking at one to the other, this guy's okay and that guy ain't. And
Mm-hmm.
because he's in this cast and you're, and I mean, wait a minute, but this thing is centuries, thousands years, these folks have been living this way. And you'd think at some point somebody would go, eh. Now they're doing better, because there's so many people waking up going, no, this is stupid, this is silly,
Yeah.
but in a lot of the villages and a lot of the population, it's still that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I've met some really snobby rich people, and I met some really snobby poor people. I don't think it has anything particular to do with the money. They're just
Yep.
snobby people.
Yeah.
But it seems to hurt more when they're rich.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. Well, and
so
that's
go ahead.
once you get in that system, like you're saying, that India system, they get brainwashed, and they've been doing it for thousands of years, and all of a sudden they woke up and somebody got educated and said, hey, I'm just as smart as that other guy who's 10 steps ahead in the system. How's he any smarter or better? The only thing he's got better off for him is that he's got money. I don't. I'm
Right.
scraping the poop off the streets, and he's sitting in an office desk, and I have a brain just like him. I mean, just think of all the people in that system who were like super geniuses, who ended up in that low level spot scraping poop off the street, who said, well, you're a poop scraper, but I got 100 or 200 IQ. Well, you're a poop scraper.
Yeah.
Pardon
Well,
the
I've
pun.
seen, and YouTube has been interesting about that. Sometimes it's hard to understand, but some of these guys and women, but mostly the guys,
Mm-hmm.
are designing stuff in their shops because they don't have the resources that the rich people do. So they have generators, they got this, they got little motorbikes and things. I mean, you've seen some of the things where the guy's riding down on a 2 or 3 wheeler with this great big bundle of something. I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, I'd have crashed trying to get on the thing with the bundle, but they're driving through the country and doing these things. So they have got an ingenuity that's like built into them. It's sort of like the Native Americans that I've met. The true walkers all have sort of no matter what hits them, they can adapt. they're ingenious in that, well, a piece of string turns into this, or a piece of that turns into this, or you know, and it's just like, well, crap, I thought I was pretty good, but you folks have got it nailed. And it's almost like it's just in them, you know,
Yeah.
and I got some of that, but I've seen some folks and I just go, you know, so they are confident no matter where they walk, no matter
Yeah.
where they are, no matter what happens, they're
Hmm.
cool with it, because no matter what happens, they know within themselves that they can adapt to the situation. Or, you know, and if they die, well, if that's what Great Spirit said, I mean, you know, a fire or a bomb or, you know,
Yeah.
tornado, something. But the idea, though, that it's not that they're waiting for death, but they're ready. They're okay with it if it happens, you know,
Yeah.
which is a
Yeah.
lot different than how we look at it,
So
you know.
I don't know. I don't understand. You know, I understand about the Indian stuff, but you know, you seem to know a little bit more about that than I do. So in their system, you know, how, I mean, their system lasted for a long time before we came, or you know, the white man came and screwed it all up. And did they have, you know, a hierarchy like, hey, you're a poop scraper, stay being a poop scraper, or hey, you got talents, you're smart, you're going to move up the ranks right away?
There were the there it really depends on the tribe and the region. But
Uh-huh.
most of the hierarchy was the chief.
Yeah.
So the chief, and what a lot of people don't understand, that the old women and the children got fed first.
Yeah.
You know, where a lot of other societies or whatever, you know, the strong shall survive.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the warriors that were strong and could run and hunt, you know, they too understood that they too, at some point, if they didn't get killed or, you know, they were going to become old. So everything is a transition, but the chief, who was a respected elder mostly, or they replaced him,
Yeah.
just kept and his was the final say so, but the elders always gathered and everybody all had a vote, and, you know, smoked the peace pipe. You know, there was like a talking stick in many of
Yeah.
the types of tribes. They had a stick, and if you had the talking stick, it was yours, and everybody got a chance. You could pass it back and forth, and you talked and discussed. There was no time frame. You talked and discussed until everybody was through, period.
Yeah.
If it
Yeah.
took days or weeks or months, they, you know.
Yeah, I totally agree, and that's the thing too. And I think I hit on something that you said that was really important. They talked about, you said the elders, you know, uh, and they knew that people who were older had more wisdom than, you know, like you said, the young warrior, no experience. They ain't gonna put him as chief and say, here, you've been around for 15 years or 20 years, you run the show, and we'll all follow you. You know, they gave that to the older people who'd been around for, you know, 40, 50, 60 years. I don't know how long they were living at the time, but you know,
Well,
those are the people that were making the decisions.
but to the point, though, there were times, especially during the Lakota, the Sioux, the, you know, the Western things, the Cheyenne, and all that. Um, when the uprisings were there, the Boulder took over, but
Mm-hmm.
they always counseled with the elders. That's one thing. No matter what kind of Indian movie you see, there's the
Mm-hmm.
chief, but then there's the elders, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And so they, like, you know, well, I want to go to war, and they all sit around and go, well, we maybe you shouldn't do this right away, and maybe we should counsel on this, and, you know, so, and it is a respect and an
Yeah.
honor within the tribes and across the Indian nation in a lot of ways. Now, I say that I've been with folks one time in Tennessee in Murfreesboro. Goodness gracious me. They had a great big 3-day weekend powwow thing. People coming from all nations, as far as, you know, California and Canada, and I mean, it was a big deal. And so there are those traditions who they enter from the East or the West. I think it's usually the East. And these folks said, no, we're gonna enter from the north. That's where we do it. And so they had all the Native Americans, and I was up on the mezzanine looking down, and they were fixing to have a flipping war. And I'm going, can't you have both? If you're for the north side, you come in from there. But somebody else whose tradition is you come in from the east, then can't you do both? Oh my God! Some of the dancers and folks, and if they were going to go. And
Yeah.
I knew the director at the time, and she come over to me and she goes, some of these people are nuts. I thought that, that the Native American people, oh my God, the traditions and their thing. And I just look at them and go, can't we all get along?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They get in their head and they fight over the littlest things. It's not limited to one group of people, is it?
Right. And that was supposed to be the whole idea of this InterTribal powwow. InterTribal, more than one, other folks. So, we'll share your tradition, but we're going to do ours as well, right? We can do both. It should be okay, right? I mean, but anyway, they did resolve it, but there was much hoopla and several hours of pissing, and I was like, oh my God. And then in getting together with folk on a normal basis, these folks are from this tribe and these folks are Western and this is Cherokee. And I was like, the Cherokee and the Eastern tribes, to me, seem to be much more forgiving than some of the Western tribes. For example, I had a friend of mine, and we called him Big Bear, and he was like 6'6", and literally wore a bear skin with the head and all. And he used to go to powwows and things. He was an EMT as a regular job, but he taught people how to throw an axe, Anyway, but he and I were talking, and we were at a festival one time, and he said, you're from the Wanabe tribe, Dave. And I said, what do you mean? He said, you want to be an Indian. And I said, well, wait a minute. So he said, I'm in Lakota. And I said, well, are you full blood? And he goes, no, my mother isn't, but my father was. And I said, okay. So he, being Lakota, married outside of the tribe. But when his son became 16, because of Lakota tribe traditions, he's not Lakota anymore and has no rights in the tribe. Now, I'm sorry, but if you're Cherokee and even though the bloodline's a little thin, they recognize you. They say, come on in, let's sit down. There's a tribe down if you ever look at Florida and Georgia, there's a little dip along the Florida line. It's like right there. And I've been to there several times, and the people there are just amazing. And the people who come to there are amazing because they all seem to understand the same thing. Just very little talking going on and smiling and nodding and, and it's like, wow, there was a whole conversation right there. And I just smiled at this person and nodded. What the hell? And a lot of people were like that. So, but anyway, with that said, though, some of the Western traditions, though, they're a little bit more staunch. And oh no, you can't be part of the tribe. I'm sorry, but that little you married out. No, sorry, your son can't belong anymore. So when I talked to him after his son became 16, I said, so how do you feel now? He goes, it's a bunch of crap. This tribal stuff, and it's a bunch of crap. And I said, well, I've got history with a great grandmother and a great great grandmother, a grandmother. Yeah, a great great and a great and a grandmother. Right, 3 full blood and 2 half blood. So I'm saying I'm not necessarily saying I want to become part of the tribe. I just want you to recognize that this is my heritage, and I'm here to learn because I wasn't taught. So now his son has become part of the Wanabe tribe, the Wannabes. Even though he was born into the tribe, had 16 years of it, because of the law. And it's like, so this is going on so many levels, locally, tribal, regional, you name it. So for us to all get along and to all think sort of alike is a little difficult. And the fact that we here in this group and other groups too can get along at all is a mark in our positive direction, in that our awareness is a lot more than other folk. I mean, we need a gold star, at least one, and saying, listen, we're trying to pay attention, we're trying to understand, we're working, our goals are towards spiritual and etc. But we can look around and go, them people just don't fit in it at all. Them folk are nuts. They've gone a little cray-cray. But we have to be grown up enough to be able to say, I'm not being egotistical about this, but there are enough of us out here that understand our role. And our role isn't to try to change the world's point of view, but it is about being strong. I was listening to Simon Parks earlier today, and folks were asking, would he participate in a mass meditation to try to influence others, change people's minds. I think it was about the vaccine, and he said, absolutely not. And he said, because we cannot try to change someone else's free will.
Yeah.
We could meditate on them awakening to the truth, which some might say, well, ain't it the same thing? No, because they still have the opportunity to make a decision. But if we want to force our will in a mass participation to change folks' mind, no, what we need to do, we could do it and say, I want to have a mass meditation and we want to pray that the truth comes out. See, so people can still make the right choices, but we can say we wish the truth to come out. Now that's it would achieve actually better than to try to change people's minds. It's an energy we could work for, lets the truth be told. Okay, well, rather than trying to change Uncle Jim's mind, that ain't gonna work. He just ain't, there could be 10 of us and Uncle Jim ain't gonna change his mind. But we could change the overall feel of the universe and say, hey, collectively, in the universe of things, we wish the truth to be known and for people to accept it and go, wait a minute,
Yeah, well, this is true. Okay, we got a question for you.
Okay.
I think it was Lori from Pure Love Ascension said, do you still have any native spirits visit you?
There are some that just walk through here and I go, who is that? But I consider my current spirit guide a Native American type spirit guide. So there are a lot of things that, how do I put this? Give me half a second.
Let's see. Jill Jarrett thinks she feels good with Indian tradition stuff or something, I think it was, and that she may have a Native American past life or something like that.
Many of us do.
So does Twisted Isby. Yeah, and I think, I mean, if those spirits come back and we're in reincarnation, well, obviously they're going to come from somewhere, right?
Right. And here's the thing. I've noticed with people from different walks of life. I grew up in Tampa, so big city life, and I've been back and forth and stuff. I've traveled with doing the puppeteer thing. I've traveled with the carnival. I've met a lot of people in my lifetime. And I look at some of them, and there are some people who, like, they look at a tree and know that it's more than just a tree. They just know they're in tune with it. There are things about houseplants. There are things about nature that are ingrained in them. And they didn't learn it from school. They didn't learn it in church. It's a natural connection to certain things, whether it's walking, you know, going to the mountains or, you know, and people who go to the mountains are searching for something. It's probably because they've been there before and their past life is coming back. I've been to places up in the mountains and I'm like, how in the hell did I find this place? You know, and it's like, but I knew right where to go. And now, was it spirit leading me or was it a previous life's experience that
Yep.
led me to this place? So,
Yep.
you know, but so in our discernment, that's the answer is in the universe. That's where it's our own personal Akashic record. You know, the turtle says, you know, and also the whale, but we each have our own song. So although our song is with the collective, it's also our own song, you know. So,
Mhm.
and our song combined with others is what makes the music of the universe. So in our frequency, in our thought patterns,
Mhm.
in that type of thing, you know, so when we stay in that kind of thing, we're helping with the harmonics, if you will. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
if any of you out there think that you don't have a part in this, oh my goodness, every single one of us who contributes to that harmonic balance is showing the universe that we humans give a shit. Excuse
Yeah.
my language, but you know.
Well, that's true. Every time that we do anything, I guess it's that the butterfly effect. There you
Yes,
go. If you
yes,
do anything, you have created, you've thought, you've added to the universe. Everything you do, even if it's you know, getting up in the morning and making your breakfast, you're affecting things. It might be on such a small scale, it doesn't matter, but you're adding, you're contributing, you're adding ideas, you're influencing. You know, just because you poured that cereal, you had to buy the cereal, which employed somebody at some job somewhere because you put your 2 cents in to buy that box of cereal, and that cereal came from that business, which the you know bought the product from a farmer who grew it, and then that contributed to the seeds and and of course he had to have a tractor, and you know you go through the whole line. I mean, your little bit went a long
contributes
way.
to the whole.
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly.
know, and you know that's just the supply side chain of things in on this planet is just one way to sort of explain it, in that if we didn't have the truck drivers to truck the stuff because they pulled up a lot of railroad tracks, but you know, so if
Hmm.
the trucks don't go, thank you, Big Al. If the trucks don't go, things don't move, and if things don't move, then people are stuck without, and et cetera, et cetera. So you know, you break something in the supply chain, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So if in the universe of things, if there are broken pieces, and let me impart this little bit. I had this little vision earlier and several things brought it on, but that once you drop a pebble into the water, you can't take back the ripple,
That's absolutely true.
you know.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh crap, I mean, you know, I was talking about ripples, and you know, and we make ripples in the universe and every one of us and blah blah blah, but you know, then it was like, yeah, but you know, you can't take it back.
But you,
Once
yeah,
you
and
drop that, once it touches unless you got a time machine, you can't take it
yeah.
back.
Well, and that's another thing, and every pebble you drop in is a different size. So, and you notice, like throughout history, I'm a big history guy. Certain people do certain things that cause bigger ripples that affect us to this day.
Yep.
And so, you know, their contribution to good or bad, doesn't matter. Um, their ripples were way bigger.
Yep.
And so, you know, each one of us has that duty and that job of making sure our ripple is possibly a good ripple instead of a bad ripple. I would say then. That's a good analogy. I like that. I like that. That's a good one. I'm going to use that.
Yes,
I'm
please. Yeah, but I was showed that earlier today, and it curious that I got in touch with you and whatever. And they're literally digging up the phone lines at the top of my driveway along the side of the roads. I didn't have telephone or internet for an entire day, and them boys up there are going to have a hard time going through my driveway up there. They don't know what's under the dirt. But anyway, it's going to be interesting. So where was I headed with that? Oh, well. We never know. You know, I'm always talking about adapting. Well, I woke up and went, you know, how come the phone's not working? How come the computer ain't? What the hell? Well, how am I going to find out? I don't have a cell phone. So I was like, I know the guys are working up at the top of the hill. Me and the dog have been walking up there and getting the mail and blah. So I realized they're digging up the phone line. So I'm like, well, it would have been nice if they'd have warned us at least, right? So, but the phone was off for a long time after they left. And I thought, so they're having switching issues too. So then everything came back on and blah, blah, blah. But I was like, during that time, I went through different states of emotion going, oh my God, how am I going to get in touch with anybody? I can't call anybody to like come get me or anything. Oh, should I really, maybe this is one of those times I really do need a cell phone. And I was like, crap, my cell phone wouldn't work down here at the bottom of the hill anyway. But, you know, but I went through this emotional thing yesterday and I was like, oh, shut up, you know, unplug the thing and just wait. And, you know, one way or the other. So I was like, okay, you know, but, you know, the first instinctual things that came out of me was a panic of sorts. That I was like, oh, come on now, we know better than this. You know, we have to adapt to each situation, but we don't know whether or not something's going to happen, you know, in a minute or two or not. And we should just be prepared for that. It's okay, but we don't have to be afraid of the next moments. And about the Native American stuff, folks who feel that they have a connection should understand that there were basic things within the tribes that I think what makes the Indian nations. And that was their connection to the earth and Mother Nature. They all respected Mother Nature. They all talked about the sky gods who came down and would visit. So understand, they know the difference between aliens and, you know, other types of beings. So, there is an understanding of the earth and of the universe that you should explore on that level, not necessarily, you know, what do the tribes feel about the grasslands? What did they feel about the buffalo? What did they do with the hides? How did they treat their women? You know, if you do some research about, and there's a National Indian Museum, part of the Smithsonian, and a lot of stuff's online. So you can get some honest to God, real native traditional stuff that's not hoopla from other places, because it's overseen by Native Americans. And I got in touch with them one time about something and they all like sent me emails going, you better not. But anyway, they're serious though about tradition and telling the truth. So with all of this stuff, if you want to know some truth about some things, then there are places that you can go. I would suggest start there. But if you have a connection with nature, you're probably have been a previous life, something that was natural. You understood the nature of things. So just explore that on your own and trust your older self, if you will.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree. Well, looks like our whole hour has just came and went so fast.
Can I hit you with something?
Yeah.
Before I did the video, I shuffled the cards.
Oh man, I was just gonna say that, and I was gonna say, oh, we got a little bit of time left. You know, you wouldn't happen to have those cards handy and pull a card and read it for everybody.
I did it before the show, and the reason but I didn't look at them.
Okay.
I didn't want to look at them. I didn't want to be influenced. But now I want to see. My dog's going nuts.
Okay.
And now I want to see what they mean. So one of them
Yep.
is eagle, it's number 1. And the other one is 29, which is the badger.
Okay.
And so I'm going to start out with one just because it's there, and it's the eagle. And both of them, I shuffled the deck and twisted the deck, and they both came up upright. So there's that. Eagle, fly high, touch great spirit. Share your medicine, touch me, honor me, so that I may know you too. Share your medicine, touch me, honor me, so that I may know you too. Eagle is spirit. Now, what have we been talking about? Trying to get with the spirit and everything. So, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Eagle medicine is the power of the great spirit, the connection to the divine. It is the ability to live in the realm of spirit and yet remain connected and balanced within the realm of earth. Eagle soars and is quick to observe expansiveness within the overall pattern of life. From the heights of the cloud, eagle is close to the heavens where the great spirit dwells. The feathers of eagle are considered to be the most sacred of all healing tools. They have been used for centuries by shamans to cleanse the auras of patients coming to them for healing. Within the belief system of Native Americans, tribes, eagle represents a state of grace achieved through hard work, understanding, and a completion of the tests of initiations, which result in the taking of one's personal power. I'm going to read that part again. Eagle represents a state of grace achieved through hard work. Wait, I moved my eyes. Understanding and a completion of the tests of initiation, which result in the taking of one's personal power. Now, life is our initiation.
Mm-hmm.
How we understand life and how we deal with it, how we deal with the chaos. So every day is a test, and it's how we prevail with that. Now, I'm not reading that, but this is what it means. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so if you think, well, you know, I got to go through something else, you might have already been through it and you're still here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, it is
Yep.
only through the trial of experiencing the lows in life as well as the highs. Now, how did I know that was coming? And through the trial of trusting one's own connection to the Great Spirit, that the right to use the essence of eagle medicine is earned. So the eagle medicine is being able to observe things from up in the clouds and see what's going on. What was I talking about earlier? Because it's strange in that I said we have to become that compassionate observer. You know, we have to look at both sides. We have to scan things. Here's eagle telling us to do that. Yeah, I picked this one on purpose. No, I shuffled the deck. I swear to God, I really shuffled it. If you have pulled this symbol, eagle is reminding you to take heart and gather your courage, for the universe is presenting you with an opportunity to soar above the mundane levels of your life. The power of recognizing this opportunity may come in the form of a spiritual test. In being astute, you may recognize the places within your soul, personality, emotions, or psyche that need bolstering or refinement. By looking at the overall tapestry, Eagle teaches you to broaden your sense of self beyond the horizon of which is presently visible. In learning to fiercely attack your personal fear of the unknown, the wings of your soul will be supported by the ever-present breezes, which are the breath of the Great Spirit. Feed your body, but more importantly, feed your soul.
Absolutely.
Within the realm of Mother Nature and Father Sky, the dance that leads to flight involves the conquering of fear and the willingness to join in the adventure that you are co-creating with the divine spirit. If eagle has majestically soared into your cards, you are being put on notice to reconnect with the element of air. Air is of the mental plane, and in this instance, it is of the higher mind. Wisdom comes in many strange and curious forms and is always related to the creative force of the Great Spirit. If you have been walking in the shadows of former realities, Eagle brings illumination. Eagle touches you to look higher and to touch Grandfather Sun with your heart, to love the shadow as well as the light. See the beauty in both, and you will take flight like the eagle. Eagle medicine is the gift we give ourselves to remind us of the freedom of the skies. Eagle asks you to give yourself permission to legalize freedom and to follow the joy of your heart desires. Now, interesting that it says that air is important. And
Yeah.
what are these folks trying to do to us? They're trying to cut off our air. I just find that. Now, I picked this before I came on. Okay, so now that one is like, okie dokie, but I didn't look. I refuse. That's, oh, and I went right to the badger.
I'm glad that that's how it works. And see, that's it's all predestined.
That one hit really good. Let's see how Badger does. This Badger card was a little difficult. I was like, it was stuck between a couple of cards, and I was trying to. I could feel the card was warm to my touch, and others didn't have any feeling, and there was a little bit of warmth, and I was like, I went through 2 or 3 cards, but this one was the end. So anyway, Badger. It's number 29 in the book for whatever that means. Okay. Badger, badger, badger. Until you reach your goal, know the inner power that lives in your soul. Ooh, this sounds like a fun one. I got to change glasses. Hang on.
Okay.
It'll take me a second here, but I'm having trouble reading this. These are a little more stronger. Badger. Aggressiveness. Ooh. Badger is vicious and attacks with powerful aggression. Badger is quick to anger and quicker to pounce. The power of Badger's medicine is aggressiveness and the willingness to fight for what it wants. The very thought of facing Badger makes other animals run for cover. Boy, that's true. Like skunk, Badger's reputation precedes it. Its hissing fangs will tear less aggressive opponents to shred. Badger medicine is of many powerful medicine women, for Badger is also the keeper of the medicine roots. Badger sees all the roots of Mother Earth healing herbs hanging in its burrow home. These roots are a key to aggressive healing. Roots can ground negative energy into the earth by allowing illness to pass through the body into the ground as neutral energy. Badger medicine people are quick to act in a crisis and they do not panic. I've been talking about panicking and getting caught up in it. Anyway, if Badger is part of your medicine, you are quick to express your feelings and you do not care what the consequences are. Badger people often insist on carrying the ball for the touchdown. This attitude, however, does not endear them to their teammates. So you got to learn to play well with others. Badger medicine may also point to the aggressive healer who will have the courage to use unconventional means to exact a cure. Well, we were talking about earlier about this thing and the thing, and now here's medicine and the cure. I picked these before the show. Like the mother, like the mother who sits for days nursing a child with a high fever, Badger is willing to persist. Badger people can be vicious gossips or may exhibit a chip on the shoulder syndrome if they are out of balance. You can be, so be careful. You know, if you go attacking somebody about the mask thing, that may be Badger hollering at you. Calm down. You can be sure that the people with Badger medicine will be aggressive enough to make it to the tops of their chosen fields because they do not give up. They are also the finest healers because they will use any and all methods to ensure healing and will not give up on the critically ill. That sounds like my doctor.
Mm-hmm.
The Badger person is often the boss and the one that everyone fears. That same boss will surely keep any company afloat. Badger gets the job accomplished. Badger is certainly a source of strength. If Badger pushed its way into your cards today, it may be telling you that you have been too meek in trying to reach some goal. Badger asks you how long you are willing to sit and wait for the world to deliver your silver spoon. In this medicine, the key is to become aggressive enough to do something about your present state of affairs. Badger is teaching you to get angry in a creative way and say, I won't take it anymore. You must follow up by keeping your eye on the goal. Honor the healing process as you express those inner feelings. Be aggressive, but don't cut others to ribbons on the way. That is too much aggression. Use your anger to stop your lollying around so that your doldrums of apathy are a thing of the past. Badger is a powerful medicine when properly used for self-improvement. Remember that Badger may be signaling a time when you can use your healing abilities to push ahead in life. Heal yourself by aggressively removing the barriers that don't grow corn. Cut away the dead wood and use Badger's aggression to seek new levels of expression. Use Badger's medicine roots to keep grounded and center in the process.
Well, let's use those healing roots and those creative powers and do one thing. Be the frequency you want to receive. How's that for an ending?
Yeah. And I could, if I had went through the cards, I wouldn't have picked out the two.
Yeah.
But we covered those things again with, so apparently they wanted me to, they had a discussion for us tonight. You contacted me and we kind of threw this together, so to speak.
Yeah.
But in that, see, there, sometimes the message, we really need to listen, and whether we take, well, Eagle card, well, this card, that card, but the message that's come through with the synchronicity of the things that are going on this world, on the planet, etc. We need to use all the tools possible to keep us informed, because it is about the quest for knowledge. And if we get a little warning that Eagle says, hey, look at things from a different perspective and use that Eagle medicine. If Badger says, hey, we need to be a little bit more aggressive in our healing, oh my God, I can't believe we were just talking about that, see, I surprise myself a lot, but that's trusting in the spirit, and I went through 40 something cards, and these are the two that came up before we started. So it gives me faith to say that, is there something to this? If you allow yourself to. Now, I can't pick the cards. It's very difficult. You don't pick the cards. The cards pick you. So if any of you want to do card readings or something like that, and the next other things the cards are telling me, and along with this, don't overuse them. Don't overuse cards in any way, shape, or form, because it attracts other entities. So having not thought about this ahead of time, before we started the show, I had a clear mind with nothing conceived what we were going to talk about. So I shuffled a card and said, whatever comes out, and this is how it came out. So I allowed the spirits to pull the cards without any kind of intuition or anything from my side. I just said, pick two cards.
And the subject of the show, I really didn't, when I called you to ask to do, I never said what we were going to talk about. I just left it up to random. So with that, we're going a little long in the tooth tonight.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Now, remember, follow what the cards said. They were random, and they really pointed something out. And so, as we always say, be the frequency you want to receive. Brian's message. We love you all. Thank you for coming.
Cheers.